This is Transformers 96 here with another video review. This time we have the Marvel Legends from the 3 3/4-inch series, Rocket Raccoon, as well as Groot from the comic 2-pack. The 3 3/4-inch series of figures is a series that I really enjoyed for a long time when Marvel Universe was in its heyday. Nowadays, though, their character selection has depleted, articulation has gone down, and the reuse of the same sculpts over and over have become very apparent. So I've really kind of stepped away from collecting this series. However, I did absolutely make an exception for this. When they first showed it at Comic-Con, I believe it was, I was very excited for this 2-pack, which featured Groot for the very first time in the scale, that would fit with the Marvel Universe collection, which was very exciting to me, so I absolutely picked it up. So let's get into it. First of all, these little 2-packs that they're doing, they come with two 3 3/4-inch figures as well as a comic. This isn't like a background, it's an actual comic that just kind of acts as the background, which is nice. I certainly don't think it's necessary, but hey, it's a nice little bonus. So you get a nice picture of the figures on the back. Obviously, this series has taken on the Marvel Legends name this year, which can be quite confusing, I'm sure, for a lot of people. But let's get into it. So these figures, one's a repaint and then one's a completely new one, Groot being completely new. I'm a big Groot fan. I particularly love that character, so I am glad that we finally do have a 3 3/4-inch scaled version of him. But starting off, let's go over Rocket, the less interesting of the two here. But the Rocket sculpt is actually really nice. I do like it a lot. You have the fur detail in his face, and the wrinkles in his costume look spectacular. It's really a great figure. I love the position that it's in. And it just looks fantastic. The only problem is it's relatively a statue. I mean, it basically is. The gun can come out of his hand. He has a ball-jointed tail. So as you can see, it can be swung around, so you can kind of have his tail support him in different ways, but still, you're mainly just going to use it to support him. And then he has a ball-jointed neck. So you can tilt his head and things like that, and he can obviously look different ways, but for the most part, I mean, not much that you could do. It would have been really nice if they added some articulation to this, and just made it a little bit more interesting. The original did come out, I believe the first time it came out was in a 3-pack with Drax and Star-Lord. I did get that 3-pack. That's what this one is from. As you can see, it's the same exact thing. The only difference is the paint is completely different, and he's wearing a different costume. A very similar costume, but just a different painted costume. It's the blue one with the white trim instead of red, and as you can see, that's what they have Groot in too. So I do like this sculpt. It's just it would have been nice if they did make it different somehow, and or just kind of tweaked it to add some articulation. And that also, they did release a Rocket figure like this, same costume as this, in a single pack as well. I believe like last year or so. So this is our third time getting that Rocket Raccoon sculpt. The much more interesting one is Groot's, because Groot is a 100% new sculpt, which is awesome. As far as the face sculpt goes, I definitely like it a lot. I do prefer the Groot that has more of a monster type of face. This one does have a humanoid look to it, which is still nice, but I do prefer the other one. But I still respect this. I do like it a lot. You can kind of see the way that the top of the head is kind of put onto the face piece, so you can kind of see that line there at the forehead. But it does look good. The expression is very solemn, which does look pretty nice. And the paint itself is very nice. You have a brown with the black wash, and then the gold eyes really pop. Loving those gold eyes. And the little twigs all over his head. Tremendous detail there. Definitely like it a lot. His suit itself is really nice. You do have some good wrinkles in it. And it does have a textured finish to it, which is quite nice. You have the kind of bark arms there. Do like the hands that they're in a position that work just as like a relaxed pose, but then they're also in the same type of position that can kind of work as a more aggressive hand too, which is nice. He does have this little skirt piece, which is kind of flown out a little bit more than I'd like. However, it does allow for articulation better that way. And then his feet, as you can see, kind of has some claws there at his toes, which is quite nice. And from the back, same level of detail. As far as his articulation goes, he has a ball-jointed head, but it's mainly just a swivel. It can't really do much as far as up and down whatsoever. He has ball-hinged shoulders, which work quite nicely. Hinge swivel elbows, can hinge about 90 degrees. No wrists, unfortunately, no torso. He has ball-jointed hips, which can kick up pretty decent amount, and then they can also go to the side an extremely decent amount, which is nice, and then they can go back, you know, a little bit. And then he has hinge swivel knees. The hinge can go just under 90 degrees, and it can swivel as well. And then the ankles are hinge pivoting, so they can hinge down pretty far. They can hinge up quite far, and then you have a great pivot there. So his articulation is quite nice. I mean, had they added like a ball jointed upper torso and a swivel at the wrist, this thing would be really great. But without those, he is semi-limited. However, I'd say more articulated than your average Marvel Universe figure nowadays. So I do like his articulation quite a bit, and his look itself is just wonderful. I do like it a lot. Groot, I prefer him like wearing a uniform. I think that looks the coolest when he actually, you know, has a uniform on. I think that's very neat. Comparing him with the other Guardians, if you have some of the others, here's the Star-Lord that came in that 3-pack. Same thing with this Drax. So as you can see, they look awesome together. The only issue is they're obviously not in the same costumes. The Star-Lord has been re-released, just a repainted version in the costume that matches Groot and Rocket with the white trim, and then he's also in a 2-pack in that costume with Gamora, as you can see. I would like to get that. I certainly would want to get it on a big discount though, because I really don't need it, but it would still be nice to get, and it would, you know, complete the team with Gamora. But I do like this pack. I would say that it's kind of overpriced, because instead of getting 2 regular figures, you're getting 1 large figure, and then you're getting 1 very small statue-like figure. So personally, I think that Groot is great, but he doesn't quite equal 2 figures on his own, and Rocket, you know, is almost nothing here. So I'd like, you know, a little something extra, such as this, something like this, like a baby Groot or a potted Groot, something that just as a little extra accessory, maybe a new gun for Rocket or something, just something to make this pack a little bit more worth it. But I still definitely like it as a whole, and I would recommend it to any Guardians of the Galaxy fans, particularly anyone who's really excited to get a Groot in their collection in this scale. And obviously, because Groot changes his size, you can have fun with this figure as far as using it in your Marvel Legends or Select collection too, because he can obviously shrink and grow as needed in the comics. So there you go, that's my video review of this Marvel Legends 3¼ inch 2-pack featuring Rocket Raccoon as well as Groot. Let me know what you guys think of these figures, and thanks so much for watching.